The police have made clear that they're not looking for anyone else in connection with the deaths. The weather was bad here this morning, and the sea off the Sussex coast can be particularly dangerous at this time of year. The Coast Guard completed their search this afternoon. The police say they're reviewing CCTV footage gathered along the seafront in their investigation into what happened here in the hours before dawn. Their immediate task, though, to find out who the victims of this tragedy.
The headline itself is alarming to me as a black woman, and unfortunately, when it comes to the nature of these type of deaths, it is really hard to establish what happened beforehand, and especially when a lot of them come back with the police saying they do not see any suspicious activity or any foul play. It's hard to stomach. I know we're hurt, I know I'm hurt, I know I grieve for these women. I think we owe it to them, we owe it to their families, their grieving families, to wait and see what happens from Friday at the inquest.
The three sisters found dead off Brighton Beach never recovered from the trauma of losing their mother, who drowned 16 years ago, their aunt has said. The bodies of Jane Adetoro, 36, Christina Walters, 32, and Rebecca Walters, 31, were discovered in the water near Brighton Marina in the early hours of May 13th. Their mother, Janice Adetoro, 43, was found drowned in Brookvale Lake in Erdington, Birmingham, in February 2010. A month after she went missing from her nearby home. It traumatized the girls. They never recovered. Their aunt, Ajika Johnson, said in a joint interview with the sisters' stepmother, Genevieve Barnaby Adetoro. The sisters' father paid tribute to his daughters, saying, "The tragedy of losing all three of you has left an emptiness that words cannot heal." Barnaby Adetoro added, "He has been catatonic. He won't sleep. He forgets to eat." The family said they do not know whether the earlier tragedy involving their mother is connected to what happened in Brighton, nor why or how the sisters traveled there. The only known link to the city was a single family holiday years ago. Was it in character for them to just take off? No, Johnson said. They might go for walks, but not like this. Barnaby Adetoro rejected suggestions that the sisters entered the water deliberately because of their mother's death. No, she said. It's been 16 years. Time dulls pain. It doesn't disappear, but people don't take their lives after all that time because of it. When Janice Adetoro disappeared in January 2010, her family took part in police appeals for information. At the time, the sisters were aged 20, 16, and 15. An inquest later recorded an open verdict, finding no evidence of injury, suicide, or suspicious circumstances. Janice had previously been sectioned under the Mental Health Act, following concerns about her behavior, but was discharged weeks before she went missing. Johnson said Janice's death permanently reshaped the family, with the eldest daughter, Jane, becoming a maternal figure to her younger sisters. Jane became the mother. She was the disciplinarian, and the others followed her. Addressing the tragic coincidence of the sisters being found in water, Johnson said she hopes the deaths were accidental. "I pray that one of them slipped and the others went in to save her." The family also spoke out against online speculation and conspiracy theories, which they said have compounded their grief. Confusion was heightened when police released a generated image of the sisters because the family did not have a recent photo of them together. Barnaby Adetoro said her daughter Lily, who lives in the United States, has been devastated by the loss of her half-sisters. "We've had to tell her to stay off the internet." The comments are unbearable. People demand answers, but we don't have them either. The sisters were fully clothed when found, wearing ordinary daytime clothing, the family said, contradicting early reports. Police traced a key fob found with them to their flat in Uxbridge, West London, where they had lived for 2 years. The family only learned the women were the victims after watching news reports and later being contacted by police. Initial reports suggested the sisters may have attended a David Attenborough-themed club night in Brighton, though this has not been confirmed. Johnson said it was possible they went to the seaside out of interest or curiosity, noting that they were meticulous, cautious, and always together. The sisters were single, did not use social media, and lived quiet lives. Jane worked as an accountant, Christina had recently graduated from university, and all three were regular churchgoers. They didn't party or drink. They were happy just being with each other. Their bodies have not yet been released due to the ongoing investigation. Police say there is no evidence of criminal involvement and believe the women entered the water near Black Rock Beach. Detectives continue to review surveillance footage and have appealed for witnesses who saw the sisters between 10 that night on May 12th and 5 in the morning on May 13th. An investigation into their deaths is scheduled to open on May 29th.
This Friday, there'll be an inquest into the death of the three sisters who died in the sea off Brighton on the 13th of May. There's been a huge amount of conversation about this online, so today I want to talk about what actually happens next, what we genuinely know, and the one thing that I think we owe this family right now. So here's what's actually been established. Three sisters from the Uxbridge area of London died off Brighton on the 13th of May. Police have said that there's no evidence of criminality or anyone else being involved, though their investigation is ongoing and they're still appealing for witnesses. Everything beyond that right now is speculation. And I'll be honest, when I first saw this, I started trying to piece it all together. I looked at what time sunrise was that morning, whether the tide was unusual that evening, what might have been going on in Brighton that night, and also the fact that it's three sisters that died, not one, and that stayed with me because it's really hard to make sense of it. But honestly, all of that just left me with more holes than answers, and also with pieces that don't join up because I don't have all the information that the police have, and that's why it's the coroner's job to help us find those pieces. I definitely understand the sentiment of hearing that the police have it in hand and not feeling reassured. That's not paranoia. We've seen similar cases like this one where the police's handling of it has later then been called unacceptable. So that mistrust comes from somewhere. But here's why this inquest matters. It's public, it's independent, and a coroner's job is to establish the facts, regardless of what the police conclude. That's the safeguard. And waiting for that is not the same as trusting blindly. So what will happen on Friday? Well, an inquest is a public legal inquiry held by a coroner. It's not a trial, nobody's being accused. Its only job is to answer 4 questions. Who died, where, when, and how? And Friday is just the opening. And once it's opened, it becomes an active legal proceeding, which means there are real limits on what can be responsibly said publicly, because speculation can genuinely interfere with the process. One thing I'll also say, when you look at traditional tabloid or mainstream media compared to the world of commentary that we're in, I think it's really important that we have commentary, but I do not believe that commentary should spread things that haven't been made known as a fact. I think that's where it gets confusing and just misinformation just continues to spread. The headline itself is alarming to me as a black woman, and unfortunately, when it comes to the nature of these type of deaths, it is really hard to establish what happened beforehand, and especially when a lot of them come back with the police saying they do not see any suspicious activity or any foul play. It's hard to stomach. I know we're hurt. I know I'm hurt. I know I grieve for these women. I think we owe it to them. We owe it to their families, their grieving families, to wait and see what happens from Friday at the inquest. And I'll cover what the inquest establishes once it's properly reported. That's it for today's daily briefing. One headline a day, worth your headspace. I'll see you tomorrow.
You know, people saying all sorts of things and they are similar. All these videos I've watched, they are similar. So I've been thinking, the first thing that came to my mind is these girls. I think they made a pact to follow their mom. They've been thinking about this for a very long time. Eventually they decide, let's follow our mom. Let's die in the same way our mom died. But no one has even mentioned that it could be a pact. And my mind is strongly telling me that these girls made a pact. There is no way they can just all die at the same time. No, that doesn't make sense. The only thing that comes to my head is they made a pact. So what do you think? Let me know in the comment section. The answer is right there in front of you, and nobody's even suspecting this. I just hope even the investigators will come up and say it was a pact that they made. Yeah. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Do you think it could be a pact or it's something else? But please don't follow people what they say. You follow, you copy each other. Oh yeah, it could be this. Oh no, black girls go in the sea without covering their hair. No. It could be a pact. Honestly, this pact thing is just coming to my head. But that's what it is. They just said, let's go in. Maybe they even held hands and just said, let's jump in. And they jumped in with their clothes, their handbags. That's what I think. And I just hope I'm right. I hope whoever is investigating will come up with this. Yeah. Take care of yourselves. You only live once.